It's bizarre, all right. I mean, it's bizarre in a couple of different dimensions. So yeah, it's highly unusual for at least three reasons. One is that it's multi-tiered, meaning that there are multiple points, and Corey alluded to a bunch of them, at which various investors are selling. That's not so much the bizarre part. The bizarre part is how many different tiers there are in terms of all of these investors. And then the second one is the size at each of these stages, and in particular late this year when we have this boffo flow of shares that potentially could come to market, which is largely a reflection of a company that at some point felt like equity was free. It's all anybody wanted was Facebook equity whenever they did acqui-hires or anything else. And so as a result, they paid everything out in paper, in equity, and now all of that's coming home because finally all of that stock becomes free-floating and tradable late this year. And that's really the problem, is that it was Facebook paper, and we talked about this before, was the hottest currency in Silicon Valley. Everybody wanted it. It was, you know, it was the dollar. It was something, right? It was this hot currency. And everybody got paid in it, everybody got it, and now they get to trade it.
So what happens August 16th? Your predictions. We know Microsoft's not selling, but who sells, who holds, Mark Zuckerberg included?
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I mean, this is where we get into this bizarre circular problem that no one sells because the stock, the stock has gone lower in anticipation of people selling. But then because the stock has gone lower, everyone says, well, the stock's gone lower, so that means no one's going to sell. So if no one's going to sell, then the stocks would go higher. And so if the stock's gone higher, that means we should probably sell because the stock's gone higher. So round and round and round. And that's what you've watched over the last 5 or 6 days. The stock has literally done full circuit loop of the, the Olympic 400-meter track of figuring out what exactly is going to happen. We're right back to where we were before with the stock, more or less, over the last 5 days flat.
So then what happens over the longer term? We've got one lockup expiring next week, and then in November, another one with employees. What happens then?
Yeah, so I think that's the more material one, and that goes back to Corey's earlier comment that there's an awful lot of people who don't have the luxury of waiting. Some of the big institutional investors may feel as if they don't have to hurry out of the stock. Retail investors don't feel the same way, meaning employees and individuals, and they feel a lot of pressure to get liquid in a hurry because the stock could go lower, because taxes could go higher before the end of the year. And I think that's when you're going to see a great deal of selling pressure. It actually wouldn't surprise me at all next week to see the stock do actually fairly well because this is what's happening, is it's kind of that stock truly is going to remain fairly locked up. But towards the end of the year, I think you'll see the exact opposite phenomenon as the stock comes under huge pressure as people say, I need my money and I need it now.